silver screen. Joining me now is the man behind that play, which became a film, Mike Sanchez, filmmaker, actor, producer, jack of all trades, fellow Comcaster, might I add, joined today by Melissa Austin, an actress playing Aunt Marie in Tuxedo Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mike, I guess we first met years ago when we were both roaming the halls here at Comcast, and I remember you telling me specifically that you were working on this play. And really, tell me how much has transpired since that conversation we had, because from my understanding, it's been quite a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit. It was a one-man show that really came along at a good time because I just got diagnosed with an illness I knew nothing about, bipolar II disorder. My initial reaction to that was, well, if it's got that many syllables, it can't be really good news. But in the process of treatment, that's where this character came in, and he really got me through a tough time, got me to confront something in the process. I discovered strengths I never knew I had. And he's managed to help a lot of other people, too. That's something I'm very proud of. So he went from being a one-man show to a multi-character drama with new characters and new points of view so that an even more of a general audience could come in and understand the story and the character. And now I have the version I think I've waited for since the very beginning, and that's the film. This is really the pinnacle. This is everything I've ever wanted for him and for the story, and I'm just really proud of it, and I'm very excited about it.
It will be shown in Pottsville at the Sovereign Majestic January 12th. That's this Saturday. Tickets are $6, 8 o'clock it all begins. Are you nervous?
Always, yeah. I mean, you can't, but it's a great nervous. It's enthusiasm. I'm so proud of it. I have such a great cast of people that contributed so much to this film. I mean, these are people that I've worked with before, some new, but they all put their hearts and soul into the characters they played, and it shows. It's really, it's a great experience.
Melissa, you got a phone call from Mike, who apparently saw some of your work in Hershey and was interested in having you be a part of this film. What were your first reactions when you get a call from a stranger who sees you somewhere and you're like, who's this Mike Sanchez guy? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's very exciting at the same time because it's always a fantastic compliment when someone sees something that you did. And
you said, yes, I'm a very well-known
yes.
actress. You know me.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. It's a huge, huge compliment. So, yeah, it was
Where
good.
did you get the inspiration for your role? Because I guess you're playing the character, the title character's aunt.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you would think I look a little younger than him, so how could I play his aunt? But it's a flashback scene, and he's 5 at the time. I think I had a lot of help with him. I didn't really understand bipolar, and Aunt Marie is bipolar, so he helped me out a lot with that. And Jenna, the lead in the film, also helped me put things in perspective and how Aunt Marie needed to be perceived. And
the film is about a man living with bipolar disease, loosely or not so loosely based on you.
Very much based on the experiences that I had. The character of Aunt Marie was an important addition to the film because in the past I never had the opportunity to explain that bipolar, as other mental illness, is hereditary. It's something that can be passed on genetically. But I never had a satisfactory story element or character that I could do that. Aunt Marie, as Melissa just explained in a flashback, is a very important character in Joe's life and is someone who, like Joe, had an illness.
Is the real Aunt Marie okay with this? The fact that you're like kind of outing her?
Well, in all reality, the backstory and the nature of her character is fiction. I created her specifically for the film so that I could explain that there's a genetic link. And, you know, this is a character that's very important to Joe because she was someone who was very encouraging to him, and it's a bit of a tragedy. But I will say that the nature of her personality, her spirit, and just her character in general, I certainly modeled after many people in my life and in my family because it's that one relative that you have that just makes you the center of the universe, that thinks everything you do is wonderful and you can do no wrong and they spoil you rotten.
You're gonna make it, Joe. I just know you will. You're a star. Don't ever forget that.
Melissa Austin in Tuxedo Joe. Also today, Mike Sanchez joining us to talk a little bit about the film. Appreciate you both being here again for part 2 of our sit down, talking a little bit now about bipolar disease. When were you diagnosed and what does that even mean?
Bipolar 2 disorder, actually, that I was diagnosed with that in January 2003. And the easiest way to explain it is that it's a mental illness categorized by extreme mood fluctuation. It's a chemical imbalance, which means on one end you can be what's known as manic or mania. If you talk to anybody who's had it, they'll tell you that's sometimes a pretty good feeling because it's almost like a drug. It's euphoric. Energy like you've never had before. But unfortunately, it can also lead to questionable behavior. People have been known to go out and spend money that they don't have or disappear for days at a time and not tell anybody. You're acting on impulse and not thinking of consequence. And then, of course, there's the opposite. There's the depression, which is just an unrelenting sadness and something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And it's every bit the opposite of what you felt when you were manic, because now you feel like you're a burden to the world. You feel like you're worthless. Your self-confidence is destroyed. You know, it's a terrible place to be.
Were you always this comfortable talking about it? Because for many people, mental illness is a very big stigma, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it. They certainly wouldn't want to admit that they had a problem or that there was something wrong with them.
Right. Well, I think that's what needs to change, if at all possible. I mean, no, there was a time I didn't want to talk to anybody, and that's before I was treated. And even undergoing treatment, people have to realize it does take time. It's not like they give you a magic pill and that's it. You're better. You're feeling, like your old self again. It takes a long time. But I'm comfortable talking about it because I feel like I did accomplish something. I got my life back, and I live a very good life. I'm happily married. My wife, who is my hero and my strength, is very supportive and has been with me through the whole experience. I hold a steady job, I have a home. I'm still chasing the dreams that I wanted, and this film is a perfect example of that. So I'm hoping more people will step up and talk about it. It's great to hear it from celebrities, don't get me wrong, but I think people in their own community need to see that there's people just like them who are going through it, but they can get help, and there's hope out there.
Melissa, what did you learn about bipolar 2 disorder after meeting Mike? Was this something you were familiar with from, past people that you knew?
No, it wasn't something that I was familiar with at all. The thing I have learned is that it's very difficult to diagnose because whereas one person might not be able to sleep, some people are in bed for 15, 16 hours on end. So it's just, there's a lot of different things, and it is hard to diagnose.
It seems like it really kind of mimics so many other different kinds of mental illnesses, from being depressed to what else?
Well, and that's the hard part is, for most people, depression, can happen, everybody experiences sadness at some point. There's an event that will trigger it. But a depression, you'll know when something is wrong because you can't pull yourself out of it.
And sometimes nothing's wrong.
And sometimes nothing is wrong, exactly. And you can't explain it. And the worst part of it is when you're in that state, your mind starts to make up things for you, because when you can't explain why you feel a certain way, that's when your mind starts taking over, and you start hearing things, you start convincing yourself that you're responsible for things that you never did, or you said things to people that you never said before, or that there are situations that are occurring that aren't really happening, but in your mind they are, because it's trying to find some way to explain why you feel this terrible sadness.
Mike, we're out of time, but what's next for you? You've come so far. How much further can you go with this?
I'm just filming, going out to festivals right now, and just hopefully get to work on more projects. We work with people like Melissa and the people in the show. So.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. Break a leg.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
And if you would like to catch Tuxedo Joe, you can see it on the screen January 12th, 8 o'clock at the Sovereign Majestic Theater in Pottsville. TuxedoJoe.com is the website. There you can hear about it playing at the Allen Theater as well on Saturday, January 19th, 12 noon. Tickets, $6.